Hi and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I'm Mr. C of Iroko Critic. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Yes, so one more week till the live spaces resume. If you have been missing us on that, we will be back next week. But this week, I bring you a conversation I had very recently. This is not a podcast from the past. It's not one of those blasts from the past episodes. This is a conversation I had with hopefully our friends, if I can call them that at this point, the Nollywood Ramblers. They're fellow Nollywood podcasters, and I've been listening to their podcast, and I wanted to sort of have conversations with them. I think anyone who finds Nollywood Film Club it's a bit more harsh might find I don't think they mind me saying the Nollywood Ramblers more sympathetic. I think I don't know. It depends on the depends on the episode you catch them. Sure, but I just think they have a slightly different voice, and I'm all for more voices in the Nollywood spaces. We are going to be discussing, for the most part, the highlights and lowlights of 2023. It's a conversation I think we've had on Nollywood Film Club, but obviously, not. I didn't have it with the Nollywood Ramblers, and I probably have more speaking time here, probably more than I'd have preferred, to be honest. But yeah, that's my fault. Yeah, so watch out. I will be defending passports here again. I'll give a hot take. So watch out for that. Timestamps will be in the description as always. I do have to say there are some sound issues. I have tried my best to fix them. Please make do with what I've done. And if I might have messed it up even more, I don't think I have. But if you watch Nollywood, it shouldn't be a big deal for you, to be honest. You're used to bad sound. All right. Please, I do hope you enjoy my discussion with the Nollywood Ramblers. Okay. Do you guys want to start by introducing? Well, you know what? I think because I've listened to all of your podcasts. I think you guys have never done is for obvious reasons, because you guys are talking to yourselves and you guys know this. And obviously, the aim of the podcast is to talk about Nollywood movies. But I've not really heard about you guys and how you decided to start the pod, or how the pod came about. So I'm interested in that.
I mean, since you want to tell the story, should I tell it?
Okay, I'll start. Okay, so Critic and I are cousins, and we've been wanting to do a podcast for years. When I say years, I mean like maybe, I think we first started, I think we did our first podcast in maybe 2019.
Oh.
No, before that. It was the one we tried to do in uni.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Like ages ago, and then we will try and then we'll stop. I think mostly because Korea is in Doha, and we tried like different platforms. It just wasn't working. Then the time difference as well, and it wasn't working. But then we watched Madame Koi Koi, and we were talking.
You watched Madame Koi Koi.
I watched Madame Koi Koi, and I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, Corey, have you watched Madame Koi Koi? And then we started talking about it, and then we were like, you know what? Let's record this, because it was very, like, the conversation was very, very interesting. So like, let's record this, and then that's how we started. It was very random. I think I reached out to you like 2 days before we started like recording, and then we decided to upload.
Yeah. I literally got a text saying, I'm watching Madame Koi Koi. I need you to go and watch Madame Koi Koi. And next thing I know, we're recording a podcast.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
That's how we started.
But it sounds like you guys have been playing with podcasting or recording for a bit. Were the earlier iterations of this always Nollywood focused, or was it based on other things?
So no.
I'm trying to remember.
It wasn't Nollywood. It was random stuff.
Just
It
random
was just
stuff.
random stuff.
Yeah.
But we have some background in media. Critic is a producer.
Yeah.
Yes. I was gonna mean that because I've had I'm gonna take my producer hat off. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I tend to have to do that a lot because I will be watching things and I'll see something and I'll be like,
Okay.
Yeah, and then I play a lot with media. I've worked in I don't even know how to explain this, but basically my dad is like owns a media company, and I just play a lot with different things. So for a few years I did audio production for my church, and just play a lot with different tools, and yeah, that's just basically it. So starting the podcast wasn't like too difficult for me to just, because I do the production, like the editing and stuff like that. So it wasn't too difficult.
Okay. All right, cool. Look, if you don't interject me, I would just be asking you guys questions because I'm just curious like that. I know today we want to discuss like 2023 of Nollywood movies. I would usually be here with Mrs. C, but Mrs. C does have a migraine and she's unfortunately unable to join us.
Feels better soon.
Yeah.
I have questions though.
Sure, go ahead.
I've also been listening to you guys for a while, and it's funny because when we started posting, I think you guys also post on Mondays. And there was this day that I'm recording. There was this day that I
I remember this day.
I'm 7 hours behind Nigeria. So I'll usually wake up and post like 8 a.m. so that at least it drops the same day in Nigeria. But then I couldn't post and I had to go to work. So I'm not getting back from work till 5, which is like the next day, midnight for Nigeria. And I was panicking. I was like, oh, Korea, I haven't posted, blah, blah, blah. I brought my laptop to work. Hopefully on my break, I'll be able to finish editing and posting. And then she was trying to reassure me. And then you guys posted. I was like, oh, Iroko Critic has posted. Oh, my God.
So that was the weirdest day because she literally was having a full-on meltdown.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we won't be able to post today. I'm so sad. But then eventually, I had to go on my break and then I posted.
That's interesting. Okay, so in terms of, the way I discovered you guys, by the way, is I'm quite obsessed with the Nollywood space. I'm trying to be anyway. I dive into it more than most. And one of the things that I do check is ever since we joined the podcast space anyway, so I check the Nollywood film podcast charts. And that's why I saw you guys. Yeah. I was like, oh, another Nollywood. I saw a bunch of other people, but the other people on there I know and I've spoken to. And then one day you guys popped up. I was like, oh, a new Nollywood Nollywood podcast in the charts. And I've listened to you guys for a bit. One of the things that happens is that sometimes people enter the space, and because this is hard work, and after a couple of episodes, people stopped doing it. But you guys had gone in for a bit, and part of my even reaching out is that, hey, I want to be able to give you guys all the encouragement you guys have to keep on doing this. And I think some of that comes with, if you keep on having people that are like, hey, this person is going to listen, or this person is going to reach out, or this person is expecting it, you feel more obligated on those days that it's harder to record. So that's part of why we're doing this. And I think the more people in this space, and I think especially people who have, I think, slightly more different voices, different perspectives than the ones in my immediate space anyway. So that's why that's why I reached out anyway. That's where I discovered you, from the chat.
Thank you.
When you reached out, it was
interesting. I didn't even realize that.
It was wild. I was like, Curtis sent me, because Curtis handles our Twitter. So she sent me this screenshot and I was like, wait. I was so blown.
Yeah, I turned my phone off, turned it back on to make sure that the notification was correct. then had the screenshot and then showed like two other people my phone. And I was like, I have to be sure.
I told all my family members, I'm like, I finally said a podcast and somebody is like already reaching out to me. I'm so happy.
No, I
No, it was definitely a highlight.
Oh, that's cool and weird to hear, because it only feels like I guess we started the spaces maybe in 2021. We've been existing as Iroko Critic since maybe 2019 on the YouTube channel. So
yeah, I watch on YouTube as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
I love the YouTube. I miss the good, bad, and
yes.
and the technical. I really do.
All right. We will. I've said we'll get to this. Fingers crossed. We'll get back to our YouTube page this week. But thank you guys. That's very kind. And Mrs. C, I'm sure will listen to this and she'll appreciate all of that as well. But anyway, I one of the reasons again I wish that I can hear passion in the way you guys discuss things, and that's particularly all I care about really. Is like I want more people who are discussing Nollywood, and despite what some, and I would say some Nollywood filmmakers think about us, I am happy to I'm just happy for more people to be in this space where Nollywood is being platformed. But yeah, all right. Do we want to start our discussions of what we think some of the Nollywood movies in 2023, or if you have more questions or anything like that? Like, there's no real strict format for this. You guys just, if any questions come across, like enters your head as we're going, feel free. But
I have a question actually.
Yes. Okay, shoot.
Do you guys work in media?
No, we don't. We don't.
Really?
No, not at all. Zero. It's funny. I actually, because I think sometimes we come off you guys will not be the first to do this. Some people, and it's understandable, but we get identified as critics, and we don't really think of ourselves like that. And I know we're called Iroko Critic. I get it, but
yeah,
one of the reasons why we the name was a little tongue in cheek because for two reasons. Because there's a thing that some people do where like we're reviewers and nobody cares. At the end of the day, everybody's going to call you a critic when you start saying things that are negative about your film. So one of the things, our aliases are Mr. Critic and Mrs. Critic. It's completely like, yes, I get it. This is the name that we're always going to be. This is part of our like leaning into it. And that's some things that I'll do. You see in some of my work. I don't shy away from some terms that some people will tend to see as more negative. But like I would probably identify. The only thing is that I think I'm I would say I'm a strong film enthusiast, right? I've been watching films intentionally, like and like being quite, I follow directors, and I've been like watching like breakdowns and listening to breakdowns, reading books. I've just been in that space. So I'm not classically trained in any of the media stuff, but I have consumed many hours of like film content and that kind of stuff. And I think what tends to happen is that some of these things rub off in the Nollywood Film Club space, where we have different people from different eras. Different eras. That makes it sound like some people are really old and some people are really young. But from different, I meant different backgrounds, and like people have real specialities. Like we have someone who's like really into fashion. We have somebody who is really like, her old Nollywood knowledge is so deep, and and some people are like really into like Hausa side of Nollywood. Some people are into the Yoruba side of Nollywood. So like essentially all of these things tend to rub off. And what keeps on happening is everybody becomes just a bit more versed in a wider version of Nollywood. So
yeah,
essentially, you tend to soak up a bit more knowledge the more you sort of find yourself in when you find yourself amongst these people. That's generally what has happened, I would say, and that's why we come off the way we come off, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's some things that you see sometimes about like color grades and like the opening drone sequences, which I agree with you. I don't like those things. I really, really hate them, but it's fine.
Yeah. No, it's just like one of the things that I don't know. Like some of those things, there are a couple of things that I guess I started noticing, and then when I started noticing it, so I would say even Iroko Critic, before Iroko Critic started, like there was already an Iroko Critic in my head for about 3 years, because I would, I start noticing anything and I start saying it to some of my friends, and my friends would be like, hey, why don't you go and make your own, and that kind of thing. Yeah. I can't wait to see your movies. Like I don't actually have any plans of making a movie, but and then I back then when I was just dating Mrs. C now, as she's known, I sat her down with, and we discussed a couple, and then because I think she's really entertaining, she's better spoken than I am. I was like, oh, let's do a review, and we sat down, did something much closer to what you guys are doing, and then from there, I was just like, oh, maybe we can just make this a bit more entertaining with the videos, and then it turned into writing scripts, and then all the other things. So all those things like noticing drone shots, and in fact, the mic. I don't know if you guys have seen the I think it's called. I haven't done it in a while, but Find the Mic. There's a Find the Mic thread I have where I was just like pointing out every time I've seen the mic in the Nollywood films. Yeah.
In a shot.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's every time like the mic breaks the fourth wall. Either it's the mic or the shadow of the mic, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a lot. And in the films that you wouldn't even expect.
That present boom.
Yeah. So
I will say though, I've held a boom mic before. Those things are heavy, so I kind of get it sometimes, but still, I know what you mean.
Yes. No, I can imagine. I have only like, again, I just have an audience perspective of this, and I guess my thing would be, I don't see that in most films. I don't see that in any films, especially in the late, since like 2015. I haven't seen that in like Western films or Hollywood films or films I would classify as serious films anymore. If you go to the 80s and the 90s, I could show you some of those things. Like we were watching Columbo, and I see it in some of the episodes in Columbo. I get that. Yeah. But it's weird to see it in like 2023
It is. And there are ways around it, to be honest.
Yeah. Because there's editing software now to just clone it out, and sometimes it's just people missing it in QC, to be honest. Yeah.
But honestly, you don't even have to get to the point of QC. I feel like if you put the boom mic on a stand and you sort of frame it out, it will be fine.
Yeah. There's framing it out, yes, and there's also just cloning it out if something drops in the show. Yeah, but,
in post.
It's people. It is what it is. I don't think it's not like, oh, I think it doesn't always necessarily detract from the movie. I don't think it detracts from much of the story, because like it's a small thing. But I'm just saying, like, if you think you've made a masterpiece and we're seeing the mics in your film, you're just to show you where we are. It's kind of a grounding of, we're not there yet. But it's not it doesn't mean like the film is trash or anything. It's just like, we're still behind in a lot of areas. Yeah. Especially like sound is a big thing, but yeah. All right. Any more questions?
No, I think I'm questioned out.
Okay. If anything else comes out, just shout out. I'm happy to go into like some of our best films of 2023. If you wanted to, if you guys wanna discuss that, what are some of the films you guys enjoyed from
the best?
Should we start with the worst and end with the best? I don't know.
See, so it's a weird one because funny enough, I think we had like a version of this in our heads for an episode that has gone into the ether that we will call a blessed memory now, where we did like a good film, a bad film, and then a why was this made?
Oh right. Oh, interesting. Okay, let's hear it.
I'm trying to. Do you know what your list was?
I think okay. So we started with the good because we always like to start with the good.
Yeah, we did.
Good.
And I'm
so can go ahead and start with the good.
My top one I remember was Gangs of Lagos.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that was because I was like, I had so many good ones, but that was the one that like at the start of the year sort of revived my joy.
In Nollywood.
So that was my top one for the year. Yes, because I mean, there've been so many good movies over the past couple of years, and bless our industry, it's getting so much better, and I'm so proud. But I remember during the pandemic when they were filming Gangs of Lagos, I kept seeing like little snippets of like stuff that they were filming because I follow a lot of the cast and the crew, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" But then I never saw anything, so I was like, "Okay, well, this is never coming out." And then the film came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is that thing."
Yeah.
And watching it for me was the attention to detail was really good. For the most part, there were some, but
I doubt Nollywood makers would put so much budget into any movie and not release it.
Yeah, but you never know. There's some movies that are taking a million years to come out.
Yeah, but they still come out.
Yeah, that Gangs of Lagos was. I think Gangs of Lagos was shot. And I'm trying to remember this. I might butcher the.
It was either 2020 at the height of the pandemic or the year after.
Yeah. It was a while ago. So, I remember that because I know they shot it before they did Brotherhood, which came out. Which came out first.
And Brotherhood came out first, so that confused me as well.
Yeah. I one of the things I think we discussed, I think like it's good to see. I thought Toby's performance in Brotherhood, for me was better, a little bit more nuanced. He is able to carry a bit more emotion in his face, and I said, you know what, that's probably good for him because at least that is showing growth for me. I don't think the the characters maybe in Brotherhood were as. I don't know if they were as clean or as interesting as they were in Gangs of Lagos, but I did like Toby's performance more. Gangs of Lagos is an interesting one because I think I'm a big fan of JJ. I keep on saying this, but sometimes when I say it, and then I was like, all right. So when she writes and directs alone, I'm almost I like this stuff much. I like this stuff better. So this one, Gangs of Lagos, she co-wrote, and for me, like sometimes there's, co-writing is difficult if it's not someone you really know and trust. And I think writing is already an issue in Nigeria. That two people co-writing a script is almost like that's a difficult thing to do. And I think for me, it just should a little much. I don't know if you guys have seen our Gangs of Lagos review on our YouTube channel. I think all of our issues are very displayed there. My biggest one was the third act, which is just a Nollywood thing. At this point. Just things just wrapping up a little too quickly, and I just think for me, Toby's character there, I wish they gave him something. I wish they gave him something that just to do that would have been like, oh, that's a cool thing that he did that was, intelligent or smart, because, they build him right from when he was a child, right? They tell him, oh, he's really clever, and I'm waiting for him to do this, very clever thing that, but like it just didn't come. And in fact, I would say some of the things that happened were a little silly when he, they, like they got tricked into, it was this person who they essentially got tricked into a gang war, right? They got misled into a gang war. Yes. And, the fact that it took just somebody to sit them down and go, hey, why do you think it was us that did this? And just, some things are just being wrapped up a little too cute. If it was if it was just a conversation that was needed, it just seems like that war just felt very much pointless and silly.
Yeah.
And the script did not seem aware of, you can have pointless wars, but if the script didn't seem aware of it, it just felt like, all right, it's time for Toby to get on the right side, and that kind of thing. But that's some issue. And then some of the action in the last third, I think in our videos we pointed out some of that rooftop thing. There's some green screen stuff there that could have been better, but I don't like we're still new in the action game. I have some leeway for us. But I guess even sometimes, even as a reviewer, even when I have leeway, I still have to go, you can still do this better, but it's not that big a deal. The bigger deal for me for Gangs was just the story didn't seem to have the heart enough for me. And that's going to be difficult when you have two writers for me. It's always going to, because it's like it's the hardest thing for us in Nollywood is getting the script right, and getting two people to put their brains together. I don't know. I mean, like, it's difficult enough with one. It's just like, anyway. But I understand that's many people's favorite movie, though. Many people's favorite movie.
Ironically, my issue with that movie wasn't really the script. I mean, I see what you mean, and I understand a lot of like why those issues are issues. But for me, it was more tinier things. Like there's a scene where I think it's when Elenio dies, where they're having the war. And it's like some of the costuming and the set design is just out of place because it's from the wrong era.
Right.
And there's a couple of stunts in there as well, especially at the end, that just the impact versus what happened don't match up.
Mm-hmm.
Just from like a logical perspective, those are my issues. But again, like you said, it's one of our sort of first-ish action movies. So it was one of those things where I was like, I can give it a pass.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. All right. What any other highlights of the year?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of movies that I really loved this year. I really liked Black Book. I thought that was really, really good. As usual, everything has its little minute issues here and there. Blood Vessel was another good one. I think I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I remember listening to you guys. I was like, she gave it a what? So I think I'm gonna forget who. Somebody wanted to give it a 10, and yes,
I wanted to give it a 10, and I thought she was doing the most.
Yeah, I was going to give
my 5
a 10. But that's because so when we review, or when I review, because Critic, she finds it very difficult sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes she wears her producer's hat and then she finds it difficult to take it off. But when I review, reviewing as a viewer, I review in the sense that, can I recommend this movie for somebody else to watch and they would like it. So yes, I gave it a 10, but we still spoke about some things that were a bit off. So it wasn't perfect, like 10 over 10. But I would definitely tell like my colleagues to watch it, like, and they're not Nigerian.
Oh no, I would tell everyone to watch it, but I'm sorry, and I keep saying this is a lot, and I feel like it's my thing. I can't with that sound. Like, if the music does not work with the film, why is it there?
Yeah, I remember this conversation about the music. Yes. I actually, it's funny because I both said where I both said I liked I said I liked the score, but I actually know I absolutely know what you mean, Corridor, when you say you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like some of the sounds were actually some of them were poorly used. I thought, and actually this came up in a Nollywood Film Club conversations where some people, yes, some people loved it. This one was a polarizing one. You actually had some people who loved it, and and then you had some people who just did not like it at all. But yes,
Yeah.
this was another one was where I think I'm like I'm more interested in what other people have to say about movies, especially because I know what I already think about a movie, but like I'm just interested in
Yeah.
what other people have to think, and I'm always getting surprised by what people find that they like, and what people I'm always guessing right and wrong, right? I didn't think people were gonna love Blood Vessels like they did, because I didn't love it, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't love it, but people love this film. They love this film.
What I actually enjoyed about Blood Vessels,
Yeah, they did.
from the beginning, was I just feel like it was a different. It's a different story from what Nollywood would usually
Does.
sort of.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, like even when we watched the trailer, I didn't even know what the trailer gave nothing away. I was ready to not like it, but
Absolutely nothing.
I actually really enjoyed it, and I like the fact that there were new faces. So I was trying to keep up, because usually, I'm multitask. Like I don't watch Nollywood movies and just watch on my lap. Like I'm not focused on the movie. I'm doing something else, because there's really nothing in the movie that's definitely going to grab my attention. But the fact that I'm not used to the faces, I'm not used to the voices, sometimes I just find myself like looking at the screen, and even the story too was just very interesting for me to follow. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
No, yeah, I hear you in that, and I think many people share your sentiment on that. Blood Vessel was one where people finally, especially I think going to a place in Nigeria that isn't often talked about or discussed in Nigerian movies.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, it's good representation on one aspect. The other, for me, I have to say, the Blood Vessel, I really thought I was going to like it a lot more after the first 10 or 15 minutes. The part that I didn't seem to enjoy was everything on the ship.
So the whole movie.
Just that's a different movie, and I guess like you either like that part or you don't.
Yeah.
Do you know that Pere was in this movie? This is
Yeah. I saw him and I was like, surely not.
The thing is, I didn't even know. I knew him, but I didn't know him. So when I saw the face, I was like, this guy is some, like, everybody. Okay, majority of the cast were new faces. So he had like 2 scenes. And I'm thinking, this guy is not a new face. I don't know who he is, but I'm pretty sure I've seen him in other things. So it was...
Yeah, he's our new Aminu, who we don't like.
Just like floated in and floated out. It was weird. And there were definitely some parts in the movies that I rolled my eyes heavily, because there's definitely going to be those parts. Like, and there were some parts that were not properly explained, that I feel like they could have, explained it. And when we did the review, I sent the review to one of the cast, somebody on the cast, and he sent a voice note back saying how the movie was longer and they had to cut it for Netflix, so there were lots of things that were not properly explained. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I think, what was the name of the man that brought them on the ship?
What's his name? Mr. Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
Mr. P.
Yeah, Mr. P.
So Mr. P's story was just so confusing to me. I'm like, did he do it on purpose? Did he actually have a heart attack? Did he like fake it? It was very confusing. So just little things like that could have been explained.
Yeah, no, it makes, I guess that makes sense because, the fact that I think nobody's clear, and I agree with you, it's not clear whether he meant to stiff them or if he actually had an issue. It's certainly not clear in the film, and I don't think that's intentional, or it didn't look intentional anyway. And it's not that it's super important to the plot, but it's not important to the film happening. It's just an important plot point to not be clear about, if that makes sense. If I'm not speaking out both sides of my mouth, it's not important because, like, it's one or the other, right? It's either he did it intentionally or he didn't, but just it's one makes him kind of a bad bloke and the other one makes him a little unlucky, and that's not clear.
And at the end, I think it was Tikena that was all of a sudden alive. So explain that too.
No, but like they showed us like a little flashback of what happened there. It wasn't completely unknown.
What happened?
So light came through and he waved his hand and he was I'm not sure how he found the sort of the bit of wreckage that was floating atop that he hung on to. Being shot in the knees, in the leg, it's gotta be difficult. But I knew he was gonna survive once they decided that they weren't gonna kill him. They're gonna shoot him in the leg and throw him in the sea. I was like, all right, so he's fine. Because that's not a Nollywood thing. That's just a movie thing. Like if they don't kill somebody in front of you, like the person is not dead. Usually
probably not dead.
So they shot him in the leg and threw him in the sea. It's whatever. Movie when he survived. That's fine. I couldn't take any of the things that happened in that film and on the ship seriously. It seemed that space they were in, it looked like much bigger than they were trying to let us believe. Because like at first, when Mr. P is looking down on them, they're all
looking up,
bunched up. And then there's a wide shot where they're all like sitting, and then they have enough space to move the bucket, kind of out of their shot. So I don't know, and somebody's pacing, like you said. I don't know, like a bunch of things were happening. Just people's behavior on the ship. I wasn't a big fan of the white dude's acting. It was one of those ones where it would have been fine if with a smaller role. I think as a main point, he leant very, very into the I'm a villain. I'm a villain. It just looked like I'm a villain, but like from one of those B movies that goes straight to DVD. But it's just that's why it came up to me. But hey, no, more power to people that love it. I'm not, like that's the thing. We all see these things differently, and I'm always interested with it. I think that's fascinating. It's a fascinating part of why I do this. This is why I don't think I'll ever get tired of doing this. It's like, I was like, oh, you saw that? Oh, I saw this.
Yeah, exactly. I think another one that was good. Breath of Life was good, but Breath of Life was kind of good and also kind of.
Breath of Life.
That's another one.
Was so cool.
Yes, I'm going to let you enjoy Breath of Life because that's a you one.
Because I don't know if I like it or if I hate it. Like, I like it, but also I don't like it. I feel like they put in so much effort, but they didn't put in any effort as well. Like, it was so confusing for me because I didn't understand what time period we're in, like, for 90% of the movie.
I still don't know what time period we're in, to be honest.
Yeah, so this is one that actually confused. I think Mrs. C and I were arguing about it. Well, not arguing. We are just like, wait, what time period is this? And we were unclear about it. And then we went back, and I can't remember what it is, but they do tell you kind of what. They tell you what it is. It's just like you have to do maths. So I think when they show you like 1954, they do like, I can't remember, they do X years later, and then they do another X years later, and you have to do that math.
Yeah.
We did the math. We did the math. We did the math because...
And it still didn't make any sense.
It still didn't make sense.
Yeah, so, there was definitely a point where they must have messed up with some of the math, because I remember, we did the maths as well. There was a point where they're showing when he died, and it would have landed us. I think he died in like, I can't remember, 2004, 2005 or something like that.
No, let me. It wasn't. I promise you, it wasn't, because even without math, when Elijah, whatever his name was working for the man, Wale Ojo, I can't remember his name. Wale Ojo was still using this rotatory phone. What year was that phone existing? Even the projector, he had to go to Lagos to find cord. But there's a Range Rover in somebody's house. Please make it make sense.
A brand new Range Rover, mind you, with a doorbell cam on the door of the house.
Had solar panels.
Yes, and I definitely got messages about exactly those things. The Range Rover really, really bothered some people. A few people.
You don't understand. I had to pause what I was watching, because I thought I was seeing things. And I was at home at the time. So I showed it to my mom, and I was like, is this me or is it a Range Rover? And like a new Range Rover. And she goes, maybe it's an old model. You know, they released them all, and I'm like, no. That is not an old model.
Yeah. No.
Because tell me why Elijah was dressed like he was coming from the 1980s, but he's standing in this girl's house with her parents, and they have a standing speaker, like one of the new types that like really
right. Yeah.
Surround sound ones.
Background. I was so confused.
And also, they needed a letter from the British Council to say that the land was not for sale. Yeah. If we've had independence for long enough at this point, that shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it wasn't 2000 and anything. It wasn't.
Well, yeah. 2000. No, I hear you. It wasn't. It wasn't. Oh well. Okay. Actually, so, I guess I'm saying that's what they were claiming for it to be in anyway. The last. The last one, because on his gravestone, I think it says he dies. On his gravestone, it says like, Reverend, what's his name? Timmy, right? Reverend Timmy.
Yeah, Reverend Timmy.
Right. Date of birth to June 2003 or something. And by the way, at the beginning, they're standing in front of the wrong gravestone for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea what they're doing, because like they show him standing in front of the gravestone, and then they pan to the right, and then that's Reverend Timmy's actual grave. I was like, why is he standing in front of the wrong grave? Anyway, but that's aside. Yes, everybody had big issues with when they were supposed to be the time they were supposed to be saying, but I would say those are mistakes with the props, but something that is a mistake with the timeline that they said is, so this thing where it's supposed to be in 2003, right? We're supposed to be dealing in 2003. They show when they did the all the years later, and it's supposed to be in 2003, but somewhere along the line, I think Genevieve's character, I can't remember her name, says to the guy, I can't remember anybody's name again, says that we've been dating for over a year. I was like, okay, well, if you're dating for over a year, it's not 2003 anymore. It's 2004.
2004.
So, at the least. So the gravestone is wrong. So they, in terms of in terms of the timeline, it's definitely messed up.
I think the editors, like people that edited the movie, they overdid their job because the movie was just too bright and very, very nice looking. And then the people that did set design underdid their job because it's like they had more budget for editors and lower budget for sets because it wasn't good.
Yeah, somebody.
No, I think at some point in the scripting phase, they just got confused, which fair enough. It was a lot of different timelines.
Yeah, it's funny because I think one of the color graders or the editor, either he was the editor or color graders, he somebody mentioned something about the color grading and he wasn't happy. He was like hey, did you watch next time watch it on a TV and make sure you're watching in filmmaker mode? And I was like, okay, all right, okay, this is not,
so we have to go into our settings to enjoy the color grade. Really,
it's just a silly thing to say because like you can't, and this is one of the thing. So I actually have, especially when I'm putting out a review, when I learned this, that there's some TVs I watch it on and it looks much worse than they are, and I have two screens that I trust, right? I wouldn't do a review of that, like one of our reviews on the channel, but you can't. That's because we're putting something out and we kind of care about some of these things, but you can't go and tell everybody. There's nothing stopping anyone to watch it on whatever screen that they're watching it on. And like you said, our platform is for general audience members, right? Yeah. And I do it myself that even though I'm a critic, I do come to that as an audience member because I don't put in the same amount of work I would put in for our videos if we're putting it up. It's just like just based on what I have seen, based on what obviously audience members with different have different knowledge of film and all of that, but like it's still an audience member is still an audience member. That the fact that I've seen 100 films doesn't mean anything to the next person. It's just this is my experience. Somebody else's experience is their experience, right? So you can't blame somebody for watching it on whatever platform you made it available to watch it on, right? If somebody's watching it on their phone, they don't have filmmaker mode. Oh man, but yeah. Anyway,
just a very funny thing to say.
I understand. To some degree, I understand him because it's him that edited it, and creatives get precious about some of these things. But we
do. We're very, very fragile people. No one likes their work being diminished, and I understand that. But asking a regular person to watch something in cinema mode is a bit much.
Yeah. One of the films we loved that we watched this year, well, I say we, it's actually just me because I don't think Mrs. C liked this film as much as The Trade. I really enjoyed The Trade.
Loved The Trade.
I thought Love the Trade was the I think that character is the best anti-hero. It's up there with the best anti-hero we've had since King of Boys character. I just think that guy just gave him a well-rounded character, saw him as a father, saw him as like a boyfriend. Well, he had a side chick, saw him as the kidnapper, I liked that character, especially there, and that's a written solely by Jade character. That's what I mean when I say I like Jade.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I love Jade's stuff, and I remember watching that movie the first time because ironically, the weekend I watched Gangs of Lagos was the same weekend that I watched The Trade. And I think I was at first, obviously, I was very sort of in the hype of Gangs of Lagos, and I was very in love with that. So there was nothing anyone could tell me. That was a superior film, and that was what it was. And I remember I had a conversation with my uncle, I think, and he was like, "Go and watch The Trade again." And it was on the second watch that I understood. Like, it was such a brilliant film.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's I think outside of Mami Water, which I saw in cinemas, I think that's my favorite.
Lucky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was on, and I had to go see it, and that's one of my favorite Nollywood experiences. I think I'd say my second favorite Nollywood experience of all time, and the first one was watching. This is a film I was going to say you guys need to talk about on your channel when you discuss it when you watch it. It's Ayuma Fair. I don't know if you guys have seen it. You guys have to. You guys have. Have you guys seen Ayuma Fair?
No.
No, I have not seen that yet.
It's on Prime. It's like when I say it's a good film, I don't mean for Nollywood. I mean it's a good film. Good film. It's sitting up there with me with any top dramas of for me in the last. I say in my top 20 dramas in the last 10 years. I would say. Like
Interesting.
Yeah. Very, very, very good film.
We'll definitely add that to the list.
Yeah. So yeah, those were my highlights. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to point out, or if you want to move to Lowlights, or how did you put it? The films, what were they thinking?
The ones that shouldn't have been made.
The ones that shouldn't have been made. All right. Before we move off I always almost forget this because people shamed us for liking this film, and I don't. This is again. This is why I say film is different. Some people gravitate to some things. I liked Passport. I liked Passport a lot. We were the only one in Nollywood Film Club that liked that film. But yeah, we still around. I just think
this is why I say I did not finish Passport.
Yeah, I didn't finish either. I started.
I couldn't do it.
See, I love Passport. I think Passport has I think Mercy Johnson's character up there is after this is gonna be a crazy claim, but I can defend it. I think after King of Boys, after Elik from The Trade, I think you have to put Mercy Johnson up there as the third most well-rounded I would call her an anti-hero because she's not a good person. She makes fun of she makes fun of a stutterer. She physically abuses her sister. She's not a good person. She's I agree with she's obviously belongs to a life where that is quite different from Jim Ike's character's one. All right, so obviously Passport is far from a perfect film. It has a bunch of issues, production wise definitely, and Jim Ike is definitely too old to be playing the character he's playing. Definitely at least 10 years too old to play the character he's playing. And whilst I don't have that view, I can see some people who have been watching Mercy Johnson play this version of this character for a while, being tired of it. I don't know whether it's because I haven't seen it in some time, that there's stuff that landed for me better, but I just think the writing actually is much better than a bunch of writing that I've seen in a lot of Nollywood. The story is clear. The motivations are very clear for me. The important plot points for me. The important plot points for me are also well done. There's so many places in Nollywood where these. So I'll take it for example, the way his bag gets stolen, the way he gets Jemai gets involved in Mercy Johnson's world. There's so many different films where they would have just half-assed that, and Ty gets his tire gets flat in this area. They don't have a spare. That's very normal in Nigeria. And they get stuck in this side. And because they've had already written that Mercy Johnson's sister, I can't remember her name, is a bit. They're in a sticky position to find money for her mom's treatment. They go like, so she's her hand is her hand is a bit more sticky, right? And that's where she's she's looking to steal more. She's a bit more inclined to steal. And even before that, like even the way the sister discovers that her mom is ill, I love it. Like she's trying to, I can't remember what she was trying to take from the room. She's trying to sneak out from her mom's room with, I don't know whether it was a football, right? And she's trying to sneak out, and she accidentally kicks something. And she's like, oh no, my mom's going to get me because, but her mom doesn't move. And she almost wants to keep on going, but she's like, that's not normal. And she goes to check on her mom. I was like, this kind of writing I don't see in Nollywood. I'm sorry. Like, these are like really good ways to go, oh, something's up with my mom. That's not the mom I know. And they don't have to say a word. They just, do it. And then you find out her mom is sick. So I think there's a lot that anyway, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm just saying, I love
we need to go back and actually like watch it and finish it.
I will warn you that a lot of people still don't like the movie. I'm just saying, in terms of the writing, I think it's still up there. And I love what Mercy Johnson's character does when she switches from that funny to dramatic. Nobody else does it like her. It's crazy. It's crazy the talent she has there. But yeah, that's my other thing. I like that. All right, okay, that's my last one for things that I liked from last year. Although I think technically,
there's one more, but because it just came out on Prime this week, I'm going to leave it alone. And also, I needed to watch it first, so I'm just going to leave that one alone for now.
Okay. All right. So the ones within films that should never have been made. What are they thinking? I don't know. This is a huge list for me. It's a huge list for me. I'll let you guys go first.
So I do not remember if a Sunday Affair actually came out last year or not, but I'm adding it to the list because why?
Yeah, no.
That film has so many questions.
It's Sunday Affair. A lot of people
Corey,
really
I'm
don't
surprised.
like.
I thought you liked that movie.
I liked it, but I still have questions.
Sunday Affair, a lot of people. I think that one has a really low NFC score actually, so a lot of people did not like that film from us. But I wouldn't put that as my. Yeah, I wouldn't put that as one of the ones, but I understand it. I definitely understand it. I would even say I respect it.
Right. And to be fair, it's not even a why was this made. It's just it had so many bad moments that it's like I love the film, but like Jim said, I wouldn't recommend it to people.
Yeah, I
wouldn't be like, oh, you should go to Sunday Affair. I just would not.
Yeah, a lot of people from Film Club seem to want the film to focus more on the friendship between the girls, and felt like Sunday was just an annoying character and just wasn't interesting, and felt like a bit of a pig, and it felt like he got rewarded for his pig behavior.
Did I not say this?
Yeah, you did.
I literally said it felt like we were rewarding bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did. You did. But I didn't hate the movie enough to say it shouldn't have been made. I feel like they could have just made it better. Yeah, but
yeah, no, it shouldn't have been made. Just it was questionable.
A movie that should not have been made though. Love in a Pandemic, because
do you know? I thought
no, I actually like that one. I thought you were going to say Big Love.
I thought you were going to say
that.
Is it Love in a Showroom? Is that the name of a movie? I can't.
Yes, it's Love in a Showroom. That is the name of a movie. That also should not have existed.
That's the one.
That one.
Okay, that's a Nancy Isime, Brother Shaggy love story. That's all you need to know about that.
Was it Nancy Isime that was the love interest? Or who? Yes. I can't remember who the love interest was, but
yes, it's Nancy Isime and Brother Shaggy.
It was interesting.
And she was also in Love in a Pandemic.
Yes, that's true. She's often stuck in.
Oh yes, she was in Love in a Pandemic.
Yeah.
But Love in a Pandemic was good. I don't know why you don't like that one.
Yeah, I'm in between you guys there. I'm straight down the middle with this one. I think it could have been better, but I liked a lot of things about it.
Yeah, I like Love in a Pandemic. I feel like for what it was really good.
What?
I also like the fact that they did as much as they were able to with so little.
No, I have to disagree. I'm sorry. No, they could have done way better. It was too cringe. I cringed the entire movie because
That's the point of a TV rom-com, though.
no, I don't agree. I'm sorry. I can't agree with any of this. The movie should not have been made. Like, no.
Oh my
You
god.
have to make a movie from like, pandemic, whatever. They've done so many pandemic movies, by the way, but this one in particular was just nothing. I'm sorry. Like, even the fact that like it was a pandemic movie, that like you could have done so much from finding love in a pandemic. They did too much that was not necessary. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Like what?
She was a customer service person. She mistakenly called somebody. They fell in love. Then her boyfriend was cheating on her. They could have just fallen in love. Like, it didn't have to have so many side stories that at the end of the day add up. And it was just unnecessary information. Even them finding the way they even found out that there was a pandemic was so unrealistic. You just see people in like hazmat suits coming out and spraying the road. And they were now looking from the top of their office down, and they're like, it's going to be a pandemic. How do you know? Like, when the pandemic started, nobody even knew to be at home for that long. Nobody knew. We're just like, okay, everybody go home. For the first 1 week, everybody was at home chilling, and then it became 2 weeks, 1 month, and that's how we started. But them, they knew somehow that we're going to be at home for the next few months. It was just, I was just like, nah. And then how she found the guy, how they started talking, and then how they would talk, and then they were still moving around. She was still going to visit her boyfriend. She went to the hospital. Who went to the hospital during COVID? Please, everybody was.
I mean, wait, but there was a period where restrictions were lifted and you could move around. It wasn't immediately that she was moving around.
She was moving around to go and drop jollof fries. Like,
she did that one.
Restrictions were lifted. Why was she going to?
She said they discussed that the first time.
Please.
No, I'm for me, my biggest issue with Love in a Showroom was Love in a Pandemic was Nancy Simmer's acting. I don't know, there's something I find whiny about almost every character Nancy plays. It's just not my favorite at all. It's a thing she keeps on doing with her characters, where especially like if she's someone you're supposed to root for, it just almost always has the opposite effect. I'm not sure she knows how to play that lead female character at this point. I think she has an idea of how she wants to play every character, and they always come up as whiny. Have you guys seen The Raz Guy?
Yes.
Oh,
I've seen half of it.
Okay, right. Okay. So The Raz Guy for me is a film that starts off well, has some good writing in it. It doesn't land well for me, but she's playing this at first, right? Right. Okay. I don't want to turn this into Nancy Simmer's segment, but Nancy Simmer's character should have just been a lovable. She's supposed to be a lovable. I'm going to be here for you, and I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't care what accent what background you're from. But I don't know how she interpreted this character as this princess who was going to be the Disney thing. And then
you know what I think about? I agree with you 110%, because I also cringe when I watch Nancy Simmer being like this dainty. I think she's trying so hard to be dainty and sweet, and it's just not working. Like, you can be a lovable girl without being so dainty. Like, she just wants to be so, I'm like...
Yeah. Well over the top. To be honest, even in something like Obaram, where I think Obaram, she was playing a more flawed character. Obviously guessing out Abaram. Yeah, all right. I didn't even ask. In Abaram, she's playing a more flawed character, and that should have. I think it's actually a better performance, and maybe it helps that that character is supposed to be a bit flawed. But when it comes to the arc of changing my ways, I don't know. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy any of it from her. She just only works as annoying for me at this point in time. I don't know why.
I think in any role that she's not playing a damsel in, well, not necessarily distress, but a damsel, she delivers better. Like in Blood Sisters.
Yeah, because in Blood Sisters she was really good.
Yeah, I thought she's better in Blood Sisters, and it's funny that I'm trying to remember my first Nancy, the one that it started with. I think it was Superstar, and I think that day on Film Club I wasn't completely alone, but there were people who were like, I don't mind her, but I don't know, there was something even whiny to me in that character there, where almost all the ball was in her court. She had been through bad things, but like I don't know. It's just it's probably just her. She's just probably not. I don't know. She's just not gonna.
I mean, to be fair, there are those people who are just that person for certain people. Yours is Nancy, Missy, and Ituno's is Timini.
Oh no! I think Timini's a lot of people. Timini's. So there's one performance I like from Timini, and that's in his Juju Stories character. I say like
his Juju Stories character was actually good.
Yeah, I like when he's cast as a cult boy, a bit of a player, like somebody who has it, and I think that's the role that fits him best. In Big Love, where he's playing some nerdy and romantic. No, I don't. Nope, I don't. Nothing about him at all. Yeah. No, I had the rant.
That was a painful watch.
I'm with you.
I still haven't finished that movie because I just can't. That movie was so painful for me to watch.
No, I hear you. I hear you in that one. It's not my favorite. Okay, so we have love in a pandemic, and for me,
all the loves in anything basically.
So I think the Lord Tannum films, I don't know if you ever saw any of them, the Lord Tanner trilogy. For me, I think these were all horrible, bad films. I think it's A Young Time Ago, Hide and Seek, and Love in a Showroom. They're all.
Oh, okay. They're all linked.
Yeah, well, I call it the Lord. We call it the Lord Tanner trilogy. It's just made by one guy, and they got dropped.
Okay.
They got dropped back to back on Prime. So we call it the Lord Tanner trilogy, but they're not really supposed to be linked. Just made by the same person and dropped week after week on Prime. So, but yeah, they're all. I think they're all bad. Very. Some of them are worse than others. I think A Young Time Ago is probably the most offensive for me, just because of what it does with sexual assault in that. I really not a big fan of that one. Hide and Seek, I think it's just a mess, a convoluted mess. But when we do heist movies, very much I prefer having our heist being a bit more dull and like uninteresting, or like I saw that coming. I prefer that than the person who was like, oh, I'm gonna make you not see this coming, and therefore like it was like, because often what that means is that they're just pulling things out of the air, and that's not that's just annoying to watch. And then Love in a Showroom, unbelievably, I don't know how to land these things. Love in a Showroom is just the most low effort. It's just low effort filmmaking.
But to be fair, from the trailer, it was kind of obvious that it was going to be what it was going to be. Like, I went into that film with complete understanding of what I was getting.
True, and that's why we never discussed. We never discussed that. I never even picked as a film we were going to discuss. It was not. I knew from the trailer that it was going to be not a good time, not good use of anyone's time. And I say that, and we've seen. I've made, because I have to pick sometimes the films we watch or discuss on Sundays on Film Club. So I've made us discuss a bunch of really terrible movies. But I was like, yeah. Some I know from the show, like, no, I'm not going to hear the end of this one. And, there's some things I'm still carrying, there's some films that are fun to discuss how bad they are. Glamour Girls was a fun time. I remember that space was a fun time. But Love in the Showroom is just low level. It's just like there's not a lot of effort going in it. So like there's not even that many things to hate on. It's just when somebody's barely even trying, it's like, all right, it is what it is.
I feel like we've discussed this before, but I feel like for me, part of what the problem is we have films being cast with skit makers who aren't technically actors. And that reads very clearly in the way they deliver those roles.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think a lot of, especially the good ones, I think a lot of the skit makers are, I think the reason why, because I think the line between skit making and films are not that huge, because in just the sense that I think a skit maker, if you become popular and a good skit maker, I think what you almost certainly are good at is making people believe your role as whatever thing you are. So Brother Shaggy was really good at convincing people he was an Agboro guy in blah blah blah.
Yeah,
he convinced people that was Lasisi was good in his own element. And I think one of the better people, skit makers, Lai, who I don't know if you've seen his stuff. His stuff is actually just really, it's a lot of good writing, and it's like his performance is good. He's just a good performer of his work. Now, you can miscast all of these people. Why would you cast Brother Shaggy as a lover, as a lead role in a romance? Exactly. Yes, that's bound to you're setting him up to fail in that role. So there's ways you can cast these people, and like a bunch of stand-up comedians, and that went up to become big global stars. Eddie Murphy started in skit making and stand up and all of that, and went on to become
The problem is not necessarily like casting skit makers, is like you said, like miscasting them, and then don't have range because they're just good in the character that they already portray. So you're not going to put, like you said, someone like Brother Shaggy as a lover, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, we've had. Does anybody have any more of the lowlights they wanted to put up?
I mean, we already brushed over Big Love, but that was my worst. Like that was
Big
the
Love
worst movie.
A Bearden Steven. Well, it's not a Bearden Steven classic at all. But
I said the same thing. I was like, I can't believe that was Bearden Steven, because I watched. Oh my god.
Yeah, from the I think maybe they're trying to recreate the Breaded Life magic, and it didn't work.
But see, that's what I think that's my biggest issue with it. I feel like if one thing has worked once, let's not. I know we shouldn't always try and reinvent the wheel, but why do we have to do it a million more times?
Yeah, to be honest, and it wasn't even exactly the wheel, really. I think I didn't even mind, again, I think the way Timony was cast in Breaded Life is better suited to Timony, because then again, Timony is playing a spoiled young person who is fighting, and where And honestly, like without even acting, I think it's just I want to see Timony suffer and carry cement and look like he's not having a good time. Yes, like I want to see it. That's where I can enjoy Timony. Is like, but like he does have to look. I'll give him props in that he does have to look like this is not fun for him, and he's really going through it. That I think I can't remember if it was wheat or cement he was carrying. I think he did that part reasonably well. So yes. I want to see him either play the arrogant, spoiled person he is. That it's just what makes sense. I don't buy him as an earnest lover boy. I just don't. Somebody who is romantic, and I don't buy that version of him at all. And then the other, and that's why Big Love didn't work. Part of why Big Love didn't work for me. Bread Alive, which I was again the only one of the few dissenting voices for Bread Alive. I like most of Bread Alive, but the ending I can't get on board with, because for me, Bread Alive it was all a dream thing. It just it rubbishes everything I've just watched because it's not real. The romantic thing I was invested in didn't happen. That's what it feels like. And to me, and people are like, but like, it's like when he's looking at that the bread, bread girl. That's not, that didn't happen now. That's just
weird.
I buy his transformation. He can, because like he felt all of that. He can now decide he's not, he doesn't want to go down. He doesn't need to be, the spoiled person he is. But my G, you don't know anything about bread. He wants to he wanted to start a bakery or some shit. After he was like, okay. Putting that aside, but like even going to up to the babe, because I think that's how it ends. He walks up to the babe. It's like, that didn't happen. You can't start. That's not the person. You're going to start a relationship with somebody. This is Delulu now. What you're.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, that was my problem with Bread Alive. But like, I understand why people like that one. It's either like, again, you buy into that or you don't, and then it works for you. But yeah, Big Love wasn't my favorite, but a lot of things were my favorite this year, to be honest. I think we got to make a top 5 this year of the Nollywood thing, and honestly I struggled. I could only make a top 2 because
really,
I could only do a top 2, and there was Mami Wata and The Trade. And so like when I think of best of the year for me has to be a film I go, watch it. I recommend it. It's a film that I enjoyed a lot, and it might have a bunch of things, but I recommend it. That's what best for me means. I didn't have.
So you wouldn't recommend The Black Book to anyone?
Oh no. I would hide the black book in the black book. I would hide the black book in the black book. No, I don't like that film at all. And here's my reason. Like and actually it's close to my reason why I don't like something like The Blood Vessel. The part on the ship is we're best when we start doing things that only we do, stories that only we have. And The Black Book is just borrowing so much from, I know immediately, and like I know this was not his intention, because he's like, it's not the John Wick, but everybody who's seen it is just seeing a worse version of John Wick. They're seeing he didn't mean for it to happen. Even the people that I'm tired of it, because like it did well on Netflix, which doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything to me in just that I don't know how many of the people who watched it liked it. That's all I mean. Like, doing well doesn't. It could have just been marketed really well. All of the sort of places where people rate, there's nothing that's given me an indication that people love this film. It did better. Blood Vessel did better than this film on our NFC score. It's sitting like on a 5 and between a 5 and a 6 on like Rotten Tomato and IMDb and Letterboxd. It's hanging around that 5 to 6 area. This is not this is not love for a film. So I don't know. It's not something I would recommend at all, especially because I don't even think it's a good film. I think it had decent.
Creator was saying I should watch it. I said, okay, well, let me go and watch it.
Yeah, I literally was like, you have to watch this. And then that's what he texted me, and he's like, what is this?
It's produced really well. It's like one of our most well-produced film, I would say.
And can I just say, that is probably why I like it.
Yeah, probably. That makes sense. It's like it. Yeah, it has no mics in it. I can tell you that. No mics dropping.
I love how clean it is. It was made well.
Yes, even to be honest, it's not like they're not issues for me with the production. I think some of the color grading wasn't all that great. Some people find it a little bit too orange, but the
grade was hit or miss. I definitely agree to that.
And then I think there were a couple of explosions I thought looked a little cartoonish. And there was one that looked good. I was like, you guys, you just get the guy who did this one to have done, the other two.
Speaking of special effects, just because I have to bring this film up. Oh God, what is it called? It's the Femi Adebayo one.
Oh, Jago Jago or King of Thieves?
Yes.
King of Thieves.
Yes.
Which one?
No, Jago. It's Jago Jago. So, loved it. It wasn't a bad film. However, there are like 3 scenes that I wanted to throw something at something because I was like, why? There's a scene, and I really think that this is a QC thing, and it was a last minute, no one saw it. And towards the end of the film, you can see the AD walking by with the megaphone in his hand.
Oh my God.
And I remember, when I saw it, I remember thinking I was crazy. Oh, it's about an hour and I think 15 minutes in.
Oh my! I
remember seeing it. I remember thinking I was crazy, and I definitely didn't see that. So I rewound that scene 3 times just to be sure. And every single time it was there.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, I remember seeing.
Movie, but
I remember.
There was
seeing...
that.
No, I remember seeing for that one. It was what was it on the? Oh yeah, it was. So they had a crane with a camera on. I remember seeing the shadow of the crane and the camera guy.
Oh yeah.
It was in the speech on Latif's character when I think he's doing his monologue towards the end. It was difficult. It's obviously it's obviously one of those midday shoots where the sun is at its highest. So it's gonna cast shadows. And because they were doing a revolving one of those shots where the camera is going round, somebody forgot that the sun was gonna do them dirty there.
Move around.
Okay. So have you guys seen King of Thieves? Is it King of Thieves or Prince of Thieves?
Yes, I have seen King of Thieves. Right. It is King of Thieves.
Right. So it's basically the same. It's basically the same guys in terms of that. I remember for me, I preferred the VFX in there, and I think the VFX in there might be worse. Right. But the reason why I prefer it is that I think it just feels like. It works better with the camp because it feels a little camp, that kind of storytelling, because you have all these Yoruba warriors and they go into these beautiful poetic monologues where and it reminds me of kind of like when I don't know whether you've watched old Bruce Lee movies. Sometimes he just stands there and he's just going, he's not even talking. He's just making noises. And I when I was young, right, I found we used to imitate all those noises, right? Like he used to make a bunch of just weird ass noises, just I don't know whether it was to hype himself up, but they all felt like poetry, but it felt like an olden day shoot. And with those olden day shoots, there are things that feel a bit more for us. Like so the VFX, like being a bit more poor, felt just more fitting for the film they were telling. Now in Jagu Jagu, they're trying to do more 3D effects, which is more sophisticated than what we saw in King of Thieves. But it's like, for me, the best way to explain it for me is like King of Thieves is outside the uncanny valley, and for me, and for Jagun Jagun, the VFX is right in the uncanny valley, where it's a little too close to modern day. It's a little too close to just bad VFX from modern day times, and so all I can see is just, this just doesn't look good. It looks like a school. It looks like, something like a student filmmaker made like 5 years ago, right? Like where he doesn't have budget, and like, but that's why.
There's also this one scene in that film, sort of the first fight scene, it's kind of like towards the beginning, where I think they call forth, I don't remember if they called Ogun or they called Shogun, they called some god, and it goes from day to night so quickly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because whatever her character, the other thing that she is, comes forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the quick way that it went from, okay, the sun's out, it's shining, they've said the incantation, to just sheer darkness.
Right. Was that the point? I don't know. I can't remember. Was that the point? Was it supposed to do that?
I don't know. That's the thing. I have no clue if they meant for that to happen.
Yeah.
I hope not.
There's one where I think it's when Latif's character is doing speaking to the tree, when we're getting introduced to his powers to control like wood.
Yeah.
They just freeze frame. It's just like they instead of I don't know how. I guess maybe you shoot it at a higher range, or maybe you take pictures instead at the same position at a higher frame rate. But like when they froze it, there's motion blur on the falling tree, and if you stopped a tree, I don't think it's gonna have motion blur in it. It just, it just feels like you just frozen the camera, at somewhere, and that's what looks that looks not good. There's just a bunch of things that don't look good. But for me, the main issue for me in Jagun was the way the story was told. It felt there was a lot of exposition, and the story just for me just felt like it was being told, then retold, and then told, and then retold, and it didn't flow well enough for me. There are a couple of things I liked about it, but it didn't work for me as well as King of Thieves did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another movie I wanted to quickly No Way Through, trying to convince us that funke is a drug.
Oh
God! All right, yeah. All right. I think that's one of those ones that I did not finish. I think we were watching it, and I was like, all right.
I didn't finish either.
Do you mind if we go play? Do you mind if I play some FIFA instead?
So I finished it, and I remember I finished it only because for whatever reason that day I was like, okay, I'm going to watch a movie and I'm going to live tweet what I think. So I had to watch the whole thing. And it was interesting. That's all I will say about that.
Right.
It was very interesting. Even the ending didn't really tie it together in a way that that would have made it make sense.
Right.
Yeah. But no.
It still just was like, okay, so it's over now. Cool.
No, all right. I hear you.
Disappointed with the writing. I was just sad.
All right. Are you guys familiar with Nas writing?
Who?
With sorry?
I think Nas. But he might have co-written it because he tends to do that a lot. Nas, he's the I think it's the one that wrote Far From what?
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Is that Far From Home? Yes. Actually, is he the right? No, he's not even the writer of that. He's the creator. I think he's. What is he? I can't remember what he is in there, because like the head writer there is Dami Elebe, but he's I don't know, maybe the producer or something. You know, it's an Inkblot production, but he's written a bunch.
He directed it.
Okay, yeah, all right, maybe directed. Yeah, they had like 3 or 4 directors, that one, which I'm trying to remember. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember. I guess maybe just producer role. Okay. Nas he does a bunch of he's done a couple of Blood Covenant. It's one of his works that he co-wrote as well.
That's another one I haven't finished.
I think he wrote The Arbitration, which is his best work, I think. Which,
I feel like The Arbitration was a good one. It was a simple movie.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that's his best work. And unfortunately, that's a while ago. I think that was written by Nas and directed by Ni Akimolayo. All right. Yeah, but if you're familiar with more of Nas's more written, have you seen The Setup 2?
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he wrote. Yeah, all right. He wrote.
Which one did you like, 1 or 2?
I watched 1 and I didn't like it, so I'm not watching 2.
Yeah, all right. 2 is much worse than 1. So if you didn't like 1,
if you didn't like 1, dear God.
Yeah, we didn't.
I liked 1.
We didn't like 1, and but like, we didn't like 1. But 1 is at least well strong, better directed than 2.
Yeah,
I think.
And I mean, I think my liking of 1 wasn't even really that like I liked it. It was more just, okay, this is a good film.
Yeah, it has.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a good film.
It has that nice score that they used again in 2. It does have. I agree with everyone that it's a nice song, but yeah, I think all the issues we had from the Setup 1, they just doubled down on it and did all of it in the Setup 2. In the way, just it's way too convoluted. Nas likes a good twist. So I didn't finish. Was this film we were talking about that led? No way. Was it? Is it No Way Back?
No Way Through.
No Way Through. Whatever. I just, it's funny, the way I remember all this thing Nas does is that it almost sounds like the Spider-Man stuff, No Way Home, Far From Home. Yeah. So yeah, No Way Through is I haven't finished it, but I can imagine there's a twist in there, because my guy likes his twists. He likes surprising the audience, and I get it. Like, sometimes it works, but I feel like, sometimes that can get you down that later of M. Night Shyamalan sort of period where you're just writing twists for twist's sakes, and they're just coming out from nowhere, and sometimes it just becomes an impediment to telling a good story.
I'm even trying to remember if there was a twist. I don't think there was a twist. I think the end was just a little bit, okay, so he did that instead. Cool.
All right. No twist for No Way Through. Well done. All right.
I mean, for me, I don't think it was a twist. If that was supposed to be the twist, then...
Yeah. It
was a bit of an obvious one.
Yeah, well, I just watched Saltburn, so nobody has a monopoly on like obvious reveals and twists. Have you guys seen Saltburn? Oh my god!
People keep telling me to watch it, but then at the same time, I've been seeing stuff that I'm just like, do I want to do this to myself? Yeah.
All right. Hey, you never know, but some people really like it. I just think it feels like a teenager wrote it. It just, there's some things that they felt when they wrote there, they were like, hee. It's like, okay,
oh god,
I'm gonna grow up. But the reveal is so obvious, and it does the whole flashback thing, and you're like, wait, what? I thought we already knew this.
Dear God.
It does. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm surprised I'm pleasantly surprised he didn't do it. But this film that came out this week that was done by Inkblot. It's Inkblot, right? So it's still Naz. It's Naz's I guess production house. I don't know. Studio. But I know he doesn't have writing credits on it. So yeah, but this one I actually thought this one it had moments. It's all right.
It did, yeah.
I thought the issues it had weren't particularly to do with it didn't fail in very cliched ways that I feel like a lot of Nollywood fails. It at least.
Yeah. So ironically, Tuna and I were like, we were going to watch this one and review it next, and I've watched it so far, and I have a million notes.
Can't wait to hear on the pod. All right.
I'm just like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Well, can I just say that I predicted correctly because I'm halfway through and I knew what happened was going to happen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Are you sure? Because when you get to the end, you might be a bit confused.
Okay, I haven't gotten. I'm just halfway through, so let me not speak too soon.
I predicted something. I wasn't right, but I got something right. But just because
I was half right at the end.
I was exactly half right as well. I just got the wrong version. But I wasn't one of those ones where sometimes it's not. I think I can't remember who said this in our. I think it was Wayne who said this on our space, and it's right, is that sometimes you don't always have to completely mislead or surprise your audience. Sometimes it's good that they predict the things because it means that you have placed the seed in there and it makes sense, right? You don't always want your twist reveal to be like, well, I didn't completely see that coming, because sometimes that just means you just written rubbish, right? It might not make sense. So I without spoiling anything, I don't think that's what happens here. I don't think it doesn't make sense. It's not my favorite reveal. It's a little unsatisfying because I don't think there's nothing. I feel like if I watch this a second time, and I'm probably going to, because anytime we have a slow Sunday or so, I'll probably like to talk about it because I think it's an interesting film to discuss. If I did watch it, I don't think I'd see anything that would point me necessarily in this direction as opposed to some other person's direction, right? I think that's what I feel, because I feel like they dropped a bunch of things and I feel like you could have equally gone down any route and it could have been that person. So it just feels a little unsatisfying that's the one. But it's not the worst. You can make if you follow the trail, it sort of makes sense. Yeah. So anyway, that's for that one. Well, so we've generally talked about the ones we liked, the ones we unliked from 2023 anyway. It was good to talk about some of about the Nollywood Ramblers, and I guess Iroko Critic.
It was
some people have not asked, heard from. So people hear that and hopefully they'll enjoy it. But thanks for talking to us, and hopefully when Mr. C is feeling much better, we can do this some other time. But yeah, we're here to hopefully help you keep turning in the podcast. Not that you need any more encouragement, but we're here to give it to you anyway in case.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And it was so much fun doing this. We've actually been looking forward to this.
Thank you, as have I, believe it or not. And Mrs. C, I'm sure she's getting all of the FOMO, but unfortunately migraine is doing her dirty.
I hope she feels better soon.
Yeah. Pass that on. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Iroko Critic. and join us every Sunday, 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.